My name is Mercy Kirui, and I'm a publishing account manager. And I think from here, I would want to hand over to our CEO to take it over from there.
I'm going to come out. I think I've seen. Have any of the rest of you been here before? Anybody? No. Okay. So not you from Standard. Okay. So we know some of your colleagues, I think. And anybody from Nation today? Fine. That's okay. But I'm glad Mr. TV is here. Mr. Google has been our friend for a long time. And you guys too, you're new, so I'm glad you're here. We do these sessions maybe twice a year when we have something to say and when we want to make friends. We want to understand what kinds of stories are interesting to you guys, and we want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing, both E-Kitabu, what we do, and then the many partners that we work with. Right now, as you may have seen, Percy, did everybody have a draft of the press release? Great. Okay, so every year we run a digital essay competition in cooperation with the Ministry of Education, and we've had over 12,000 students and teachers through it. Mostly students, but of course the teachers support the students in the writing of these essays that are submitted online. We also accept these essays from paper, so we scan them. Well, people can send them in by email, so there are many ways to do it. The idea is to be as inclusive as possible and to bring in schools from all 47 counties, whether they're public schools or private schools. We include primary schools as well as secondary schools. And well, we've learned a lot in the now almost 5 years we've been doing it. So we've been able to grow the reach of the program, and we've had many, many interesting essays, poems, pictures that come in from all parts of Kenya. So it's a way for us to encourage the writing talent and the original voices of the learners in all Kenyan schools. Now, I think all you guys are writers, so you probably appreciate writing, and you probably remember when you first started writing on your own. Maybe it was in school, or maybe you liked writing poems, or maybe you just were a reader and you figured out later that you were somebody who could write. How about you? Where did you discover your writing? In primary school. Okay. Come on, you do it. I know you're doing a lot of TV, but are you doing writing? You were a teacher.
Yes.
So that was part of your writing, I know too. How about you? When did you come to writing?
In secondary school.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so I think different people come to writing at different times, but also because of different motivations. So, but I think all of us in the room can relate to the power of writing. And I mean, even though, so E-Kitabu, as you may know, I mean, do people know E-Kitabu? I know some do, of course, but do you all know E-Kitabu or not? Okay, I'll take that as a not everybody. I mean, E-Kitabu focuses on distribution of digital content, e-books and interactive materials, almost entirely for education. We have a very large inventory of textbooks and supplementary materials for the Kenyan curriculum, all approved by KICD, and we work with all of the major publishers in Kenya and a lot of the little guys too, and then we work with many individual authors who are self-published. So of course we work with guys like Kenya Literature Bureau and Jomo Kenyatta Foundation, also our neighbors here, Moran Publishers and Longhorn, the industrial area. We work with all of these guys, Oxford University Press. We also work with the international publishers who sell materials into Kenya for not just primary or secondary education, but also for university level. So right now we're doing a long-running pilot with the University of Nairobi. That's moving forward in a nice way. Universities in Kenya have an impulse on digital, and I think, well, maybe some of the younger ones here, maybe you've been to university pretty recently, and there, I don't know if you were using any digital materials, but now more and more the universities are trying to promote the use of digital materials, both from the lecturers and for the course books themselves. So let's see. I've covered the fact that digital essay competition has had over 12,000 students that have participated in the digital essay competition since we began it in 2013. One thing I want to talk about, and why my friend Martin Giedi is here with us today, is that we've been focusing more and more, especially over the past year, on inclusive education and on specifically disabled learners. Because, well, I mean, I could say a lot of things about that. I'll let Martin talk about the disabled community. Martin is the chairman of Kenya Union of the Blind. Martin is also the head of Africa for Perkins School for the Blind. So he has a lot of experience working with the disabled community in Kenya, both at the legal level and at the level of trying to get real change to happen. So I myself have learned a lot from working with Martin. And I can tell you that one of the things that's most interesting to me, personally, and as a matter of my own development and trying to grow my understanding, these disabled guys that I've been working with, whether somebody who's visually impaired, or somebody who has a motor disability, or somebody who has an intellectual disability, or somebody who has multiple disabilities, they're some of the most interesting, smart, and dedicated people I've ever encountered. And it's funny to say they, because now that I've understood that there really is a disabled community, and it's not just individuals who have a disability here and then maybe there, some little kid with crutches, or a deaf girl in Kajiado. Now that I've understood that those people have their own support network that they build and that they make together, I'm really astonished at the power of what they are doing and the potential it has to change all of education. Because this term that you may have heard, inclusive education, is a very powerful concept. It doesn't just mean putting disabled learners into the same classroom as mainstream learners, and you hope for the best. Inclusive education means a reprogramming of the system, both in terms of the materials, the facilities, but crucially, the culture, the teachers, the way the teachers approach learners and teaching in the classroom. Because when you start talking and thinking about inclusive education, what you understand is that inclusive education means going after, responding to a diversity of needs. And I mean, I don't know how many people I know come out here as taught. I'm sure some of you have done some teaching. And some of you have had some good teachers maybe, and some of you, and we've all had teachers that weren't so good. But the teachers that are good ones, in my experience, and I have been a teacher, my mother was a teacher, my grandmother was a teacher. When we're doing good work, we're finding a way to meet the learner where that learner is and inspire the learner, help the learner come to his own understanding of concepts and skills. And that work of meeting the learners where they are is, in my opinion, what inclusive education is all about. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge for the whole system. But Kenya, among countries in Africa, and I think even countries in the world, Kenya has better policy in place, and I think a wider awareness in place of the needs of persons with disabilities than many other countries around the world. The gap between policy support and practice, though, is where we have challenges as a community. And when I say community, I mean a community of people interested in education, a wider community of people who are focused on education. So This year, for the first time in the history of the digital essay competition, which is now its 5th year, we are including disabled learners in a, we don't know how wide we can go. We try to, E-Kitabu, we're the sort of guys that, we like to talk about things once we have results, more than when we have intentions. Because as my mom has always told me, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So we do what we can to bring results and to learn from the first time we're doing something before we make tons of noise about it. That's why you won't see in the draft press release you have very much about disabled learners. The mention of including disabled learners in the digital essay competition for 2017, but we're not making a big noise about it because we think we have too much to learn. And then next week on 18th, we'll be launching the secondary school level at Machakos Girls High School in Machakos Town. Digital essay competition has reached over 12,000 students in all 47 counties of Kenya with their teachers, and delivered impact through engaging with those pupils, engaging with their teachers, and encouraging them to express their own original ideas in their own voices, and even share their own artwork and poetry through the program over the past 4 years. This is the 5th year running. We're including disabled learners in 2017, initially through a pilot with a group of schools, but we certainly won't turn away any entries that come in from disabled learners in any school. We're promoting this message now, and we're reaching out to the special needs schools so that we can learn what we need to learn to scale up that program, to scale up that outreach to all disabled learners across the country. We've launched with Samastea and with the ministry, with TSC and with Kesha, this program called the I-TOYA, small I, capital T-O-Y-A, the ICT Integrated Innovative Teacher of the Year Award, which the first prize giving will be in Mombasa in June. We're continuing to deliver books to schools, digital content of ebooks as well as interactive materials to schools throughout the country. And then the public-private partnership that we formed called Digital Literacy Trust, with cooperation from Kenya's Ministry of Education, the Directorate of Special Needs. We're very grateful for their support and their guidance. And also with Mr. Kieti here, who's chairman of Kenyan Union of the Blind, as well as Perkins Head for Africa, Perkins School for the Blind Head for Africa, and the chairman of Africa Forum, which is this conference that happens every 3 years, bringing together all countries in Africa around needs for the blind. Martin, you want to add anything else?
Thank you very much. The Marrakesh Treaty its official name is actually WIPO Treaty for Copyright Exceptions for people with print impairments. It's called the Marrakesh Treaty because it was adopted by WIPO in Marrakesh in Morocco in 2014. And what the Marrakesh Treaty provides for are 2 main items. One is a copyright exception for reproduction of printed works for people with visual impairments or people with print impairments. Copyright exception for reproduction of printed material, copyrighted printed material. That means that people providing copyright material for people who are print impaired can actually take texts from publishers and reproduce them in formats accessible to people who are print impaired without any particular royalties or copyright strings attached to it. The second thing is that the Marrakesh Treaty provides for cross-border exchange of reproduced material that is copyrighted. So a copyrighted book in America can now, out of the Marrakesh Treaty, be shipped and brought for use in Kenya without any copyright restrictions. And those two provisions are helping free up books for blind people, bring more books and more accessible books to people who are print impaired. So far, 27 countries around the world have ratified it. Kenya signed on the day it was adopted, but Kenya has not ratified that treaty yet. And we are working and pushing that the government of Kenya ratifies the Marrakesh Treaty, makes the necessary provisions in the Kenya copyright law, which we have provided content to. They came to us and said, can you help us craft content that will be in tandem with the Marrakesh Treaty? And we have done that. And once Kenya does ratify the Marrakesh Treaty and revises the copyright law, Kenya will be able now to provide more access to printed works to its print impaired people. And we are calling on you as our ambassadors in the media to find space where you might amplify our voices by calling for the government of Kenya to speed up the process of ratifying the Marrakesh Treaty, so that people who are print impaired in this country, especially people who are blind, can have free access to books. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Welcome. Thank you. Let us know your name. Please introduce yourself.
My name's Will Klurman from E-Kitabu.
My name is Martin Kieti from Perkins.
So give us an overview of who is E-Kitabu, what is this?
Sure. E-Kitabu, we've been here 5 years. We're East Africa's leading distributor of ebooks and digital content for education. So we're headquartered in Nairobi. We've now worked with over 800 schools. We also work in 4 countries, mainly in Kenya, but also Rwanda, Uganda, Ghana. So Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, and Ghana are the 4 countries where we operate today, but Kenya is our home.
Let's know about the working relationship with your friend.
Please.
How is E-Kitabu rising with?
Through a public-private partnership called Digital Literacy Trust. We work with Mr. Kieti here, who comes from Perkins School for the Blind and also Kenya Union for the Blind. We're collaborating to bring more inclusive education to the government's rollout of digital literacy. Martin?
Martin, tell us about Perkins in Kenya.
So, first, Perkins is a US-based NGO established as a school in 1829, just about 200 years now. And Perkins has been providing educational services to children who are blind, children who are deafblind, and children that have additional disabilities. And through our Perkins International Department, we are working in 64 countries around the world, providing training to teachers, support to parents, providing support to government to strengthen their policies, and working directly with children and adults who are blind, deaf, blind, or with multiple disabilities. We are embarking on training over the next 10, 12 years about 1 million teachers on how to better serve children who are visually impaired within inclusive schools. And this is where we now merge with E-Kitabu on the DLT platform, because as the country is rolling out the digital literacy program, we are saying teacher training, which E-Kitabu is interested in terms of providing skills to teachers on how to teach children using technology. That training of teachers can be integrated with the teaching that we are proposing, because it's highly communicative, so that some teachers are receiving additional skills.
When are we likely to see that? How soon is it likely to happen?
We are working with the Ministry of Education to lay down the foundation, contracts and finding academic homes where the courses will be being done, and hopefully soon the program will begin. But it's part of the 2030 targets. That's right. Yes, Vision 2030 targets.
And the UN Sustainable Development Goals for 2030.
That's right.
Quality education, goal number 4.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's about the digital essay competition. You have done it now for
wait a second. May I add one thing here? We'll talk about digital essay competition in just a second. We'll come back to that. But I want to say that the initiative where we're working together with Martin, even though there, as he says, many things to work out with government, we're starting now. We're doing
we're doing work now with the schools. We've already visited the schools, done classroom observation, done collaborative product development with the schools, and even in June, we'll be bringing technology.
June this year.
June, now in 2 weeks.
So is that?
Technology for Inclusive Education, TFIE, as we're calling it. Technology for Inclusive Education into the schools now. TFIE, now. Because, well, we don't have time to waste.
Sure.
And these technologies and the content and the partners are ready, and even the ministry is ready to move now because they feel a sense of urgency. Maybe it's because of the elections, but I think the more serious ones are not just worked up by the election.
And it is the issue of accessibility and affordability
Yes.
of assisted devices.
Yes.
Please address it once more, because my feeling is that these things are not, I mean, they may be available in the market, but
Yes.
sometimes they're out of reach in terms of price.
No, but this is the secret. This is the new news. It's all in the device. You don't need it. Yes, it's in the device. It's in this device, it's in this device, it's in Martin's phone. Assistive technology is now built into the software, into the content, and yes, also into the hardware. But it's a device that serves many purposes. So the tablets going into the schools, the laptops going into the schools and into the hands of the teachers as part of digital literacy program are in many ways assistive.
So will that entail bringing in especially the so-called inborn technology, right?
That's
Yes.
right, yes.
Uh-huh.
It's helping to remove the excuse that has been there that assistive technology is expensive and affordable, which has led people to shying away from providing technology to those who need it in a different way. So when things are coming now, born accessible, the same phone, the same tablet, the same computer, the same microwave actually, the same TV.
The same content.
Yes, and the same content
yes.
can be used by a certain child and a blind child at the same time. Yeah? Then that is what we are talking about, making things accessible to all at the same time.
Reducing the cost.
And
Reducing the cost so
that's
that
right.
you can deliver the accessible materials even more cheap, the digital materials even more cheaply than you can deliver the physical ones.
That's
That's
right.
a lot of retraining, kind of, because I think the market may not be aware of that. The availability of that may not call for a lot of retraining.
Absolutely. This is
That's
why we're collaborating. So Martin was talking about Perkins' global goal of 1 million teachers over the next 10 years
That's
trained
right.
for special needs education.
Yes.
In Kenya, the goal is 10,000
1,000
teachers. Over that 10 years,
That's right.
1,000 teachers a year.
That's
And
right.
as part of the first milestone,
Teachers by year.
That's right.
1,000 per year.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that's what we're trying to achieve as part of this first milestone also, because it's fine to deliver, it's work to deliver the technology, but without the teacher capacity, without these skills that you're asking about,
Yes.
you're not going very far.
Thank you. Now let's go to DC. This is the
Fine. Digital essay competition. 5 years. This is the 5th year now, and we've had over 12,000 students through it. Over, the schools. Certainly over 750 schools. I'll have to get the current count, but there are more than 750 schools who participated in digital essay competition in the past 4 years, and this year we expect to reach over 1,000 schools, and inshallah, we may reach to over 20,000 students.
What are the success stories for the past 5 years that you have enjoyed?
Yes.
And what are the challenges, the pertinent challenges that you have to overcome
Yes.
in the past now,
Yes.
which are likely to inform your delivery principally?
And we're doing more research all the time to understand the successes and where are the weak points too. But I can tell you that the alumni of the competition, the ones who've gone through it and become finalists or winners, they're in secondary school now. Some of them have been performing very, very well. We stay in touch with them. Some of them have even gone on to college or to university. My favorite alumnus is a girl called Daniela. Were you there? Do you remember Akoth? She was from Migori. But she wrote a very nice poem as part of her essay. And Daniela is now at a teacher's college in Machakos. She's from Migori originally. So the kids are going on in education. It's still, 4 years is not such a long time. So we're all the time trying to find ways to measure impact more and more. And this is also why we formed Digital Literacy Trust. What's that?
One key challenge you have encountered for the first 5 years. Challenge, one key challenge.
One key challenge. One key challenge. Well, I could say building ownership among the teachers. That's maybe been the most important challenge that we've faced. Acceptance, and more than just acceptance, because teachers have to accept a lot.
Yes.
Owning it. Were you at the prize giving last September?
Yes, sir.
You remember how those teachers took over? And even the students, they took over the prize giving.
Yes.
And it was actually a pupil who gave the closing remarks. That wasn't the agenda. It was a pupil. That was that guy. Actually, he gave his closing remarks in Kiswahili. I'm trying to remember. Was he from Malindi or where was he from? I'll have to ask one of the people in the team. But he spoke very, very well, and he was our closer. Even at the launch event we had last week at Loreto Msangari, our keynote was a 4-year-old girl. Her name is Zawadi.
When I saw you lifting.
Yes, yes. She had her own poem. It was about names, because she's very proud of her name, Zawadi, and she was talking about, can we please, in this upcoming election, can we make sure we're not killing each other? And the teachers who were sitting at the high table were looking at her. You should see the picture. I think I'll show you the picture. Did you see their faces? They were like, who is this girl? But she was speaking very nicely with her own ideas and her own voice. That's the impact that we've seen with lots and lots of students. Every time, this is why we do the prize giving, because we bring the finalists and we bring the winners together, and we bring their teachers together, and we want to see them owning it.
Winding down, one, I want you to put locate E-Kitabu in terms of two things which are happening concurrently. One, the curriculum reform,
Yes.
which has a demand on content,
Yes.
and a challenge of
Yes.
the
Yes, yes, yes.
The other one, this week we are on the ICT week. How is E-Kitabu participating the two? How are you staying relevant?
Yeah, I'll take the second one first because that's very short.
Today.
Yeah, ICT week, yes. So this week, the answer is very simple. We're launching the digital essay competition for 2017. That's our focus. Yeah. Last week and this week, primary and secondary, to coincide with ICT week now. So the first question you asked about the curriculum reform. Yes, that's very interesting to us because the curriculum reform requires a whole lot of new materials. The development of new materials for the new competency-based curriculum rollout in pilot this year and roll out in 2018. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to work with publishers and encourage the entire content development community to create accessible materials. So materials, as Martin said, that are born accessible. That's our major focus in the curriculum reform. We're not trying to tell people how they should teach. We think that the content developers, the publishers, KICD, have good insights into how to build materials for the new curriculum, but we want to ensure that those materials are born accessible using open standards such as EPUB and DAISY for the widest accessibility for inclusive education. As I was saying, TFIE, Technology for Inclusive Education, countrywide.
Thank you.
Yes.
The element of publishers.
Yes.
How well are they responding to? Because I understand
Very well.
You give them a platform.
Yes. So Mr. Njagi, who's the new chairman, the old chairman, now the new chairman, he's come back again by popular acclaim. Njagi is now the chairman of. No, so Wawero, he was too busy, so he was there for a term, and now he's stepped down, and Njagi has come again, and Njagi is chairman of Kenya Publishers Association, and he's very enthusiastic because he sees, both as a publisher of early childhood materials, Mountaintop Publishers, but also as a guy who's been in the community, in the industry for a long time, he sees the importance of this moment, the new curriculum, for bringing materials, new materials, quality materials for quality education in Kenya, but also accessible materials for inclusive education. They're very supportive.
I want to go to Martin last question. You mentioned that this idea of bringing in appropriate technology has been there before. You did something in 2004, it was done again.
Yes.
And you say we may be doing it forever.
Yes.
Clarify. Does it not appear like it's an impossible task? I mean, we are never going to achieve.
No.
It's quoting you by your own.
That's right. Technology is a revolution. That's why we talk about technological revolution. It goes round and round. And so, where you stand today in technology, you will not be standing there tomorrow. And so the solutions we are providing today are not the solutions that will be needed tomorrow. And so even as you provide technology for today, you are thinking about technology for tomorrow. Technology meaning hardware, software, skills and training, content. And all those are evolving. I mean, they're all integrated and they're moving at the same time forward. Okay? Content is becoming bigger and wider. Content is becoming more simplified. Content is becoming more integrated. Software is becoming all sorts of things. Gadgets are becoming all sorts of things. And so skills also are required for all sorts of things if you're going to interact with all those. And so given all those four facets are moving together, and if we are providing the content today, the training today, the gadgets today, and the apps and the software today, in 10 years' time, the kids in class 1 will be receiving content, receiving gadgets, receiving training, and running applications or software will be dealing with totally different things.
So the past initiatives were not in vain. You wouldn't say they were.
No, they're never in vain. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because those who benefited from that technology today, I mean, those days are something else today. They are possibly functioning much better than those who never had the chance, are in better employment, are enjoying education more, and are interacting with society in a bigger way. But as you know, as we are moving technology for, what we call technology for life, which is generally everyday technology, I think there's a whole drive towards simplifying it as it goes forward. Yeah? And so, whereas things are becoming complex, they're also, the manufacturers are trying to simplify it as much as possible. My kid can use my phone very comfortably. I could never use a phone previously. She doesn't need to learn how to use a keyboard, but she can go to the internet, she can go to YouTube, she can search her homework, And so things are getting more simplified. And definitely that is what we are calling revolution, which never, is static.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll have
Nice
some
to see
more
you.
conversation.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you very much.